And in that first video, I told people tomorrow you will have my first ever review, which was Scoop. Oh my God, I remember it was a Saturday. That Saturday, I worked the whole day doing that video because I couldn't find an editor, like an editing program. It was everything was paid. And I was just like, oh shoot, like now I'm screwed.
Welcome to Meet the MovieTubers, where every week we have a new MovieTuber on to talk about their journey through YouTube, how they came to be, where they want to go, and what they've learned about themselves through this process. Today we have Jason from the Jason Entertainment channel. Jason does TV reviews, movie reviews, anime reviews as well, and talks about the sports landscape in terms of soccer. And I don't know if you do other sports as well, do you?
No, just for now, soccer or football. If we're
Yeah.
going internationally,
I
hey.
mean, soccer is a big sport to cover, or I'm sorry, football is a big sport to cover in general. It makes sense that you only cover that.
Yeah. Well, basically, it's the sport that I practice most and I watch most. So I do watch
Yeah.
some things sometimes, but that's the one I know most.
Also, we also bond through being Tottenham Spurs fans. But yeah, so the reason why I wanted you on today, Jason, is because one, I love your content, I love your stuff. But
Thank you
two,
so
you
much,
did me
man.
a solid. Do you know that you're the first person to invite me on to their channel? Hey, I want you to come on to my channel and talk about the movies that you're excited about in December when you
Yeah.
did a preview for the rest of the year. I think that was back in June. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it
man,
was
I
back in
really
June.
appreciate you bringing me on. So of
Hey
course I want to
man.
bring you on.
Hey man. Well. First of all, I didn't know that, and also like it was crazy because like 1 month ago from that, like I was thinking about this idea. Hey, like I want to cover like the movies, but it would be so long, like it would be a bit tiring, like just me talking about like 5 months straight, and we're
Yeah.
just like this is the best occasion to actually ask some people. And it's been a while. I wanted to ask YK reviews because it's been a while. I've been following him, and this was a good excuse. And like 1 month prior to that, like YouTube recommended me your channel, and I started to watch some of your videos, and I was just like,
Oh
this guy
no.
seems, yeah. And I was like, oh, this guy seems so interesting. Like, this is the type of person I'm searching for. The hard part was asking you. I was like, oh, should I ask this guy? Like, what if he just says no, man?
I'm glad you did, because a big part of it, I was telling my wife when you sent me the email initially,
Yeah.
oh my God, somebody actually wants me on their channel. I've only been doing this for like 2 months and someone actually wants to like work with me. That's crazy. Like while you were feeling nervous about like asking me, I was just excited that anybody asked me anything at all.
Thank you, man.
First, let me ask you,
Okay.
where did you get your name? When did you decide on your name?
That's a really good question, and honestly, like I'm trying to remember that because I remember at first I wanted to put my full name, like my name and my family name and everything, and my mom was like, "No, don't put," because like she's a bit more skeptical. She was like, "No, no, don't ever put your family name. Like let's say you get famous or whatever, and can have some problems." I'm like, "Ah, okay." So that really like I listened to my mom, and then I was just like, "Oh, whatever. I'm gonna do like what I think." But then I was like, "No, no, no. Actually, she might be onto something." So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, mom, like thank you for the echo on my head. So and then I was like, okay, so what do I want to do? At first it was like Jason talks about movies, but that looks like Zach Milne actually talks about movies,
Yo, I went through the exact same thing.
because like I wanted to talk about movies. But then my friend suggested me, was like, okay, but are you solely going to talk about movies? Because if you do that, you're kind of obligated to talk about movies. And I was like, no, but I would love to, I don't know, once in a while talk about anime, also about football.
Hmm.
And that's where he was like, well, I don't know, like that looks like like the entertainment business and everything. And that's where it started. I'm like, oh yeah, I should call myself Jason Entertainment, because like entertainment, it doesn't mean only movies. Like I'm not only on movies. That's why I went with Jason Entertainment. That's how it began.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. And when I said that I went through the exact same thing, when I
Yeah.
changed my channel name from See For Yourself to Kenny Sparks,
Of course.
I went through kind of a thing where I was like, okay, so if I change my name to Kenny Sparks, one of the benefits of that is I can literally talk about any and everything I want because it's not
Yeah.
obligated or tied to anything. Now, See For Yourself doesn't necessarily mean that I have to talk about movies either, but
Yeah.
that's kind of what it was associated with. So now I can do interviews with you. I can talk about any other kind of thing that I may want to talk about in the future. I still just want to talk about movies and talk to other movie tubers, but you never know in the future what I might want to talk about.
Maybe when Tottenham are going to win the Premier League, you're gonna talk about that.
I mean, maybe I will one day. With that being said, I kind of want to get into our first question. What was the moment? What was the sequence of events that led Jason to say, listen, I'm going on YouTube, I'm opening an account, I'm typing in Jason Entertainment, I'm going to start posting videos about my thoughts about movies, football, and any kind of other thing that I want to talk about. what got you to that point where it's like, I'm doing this and I'm doing it right now. I'm going for it.
Yeah, that's the $1 million question there. I'm gonna start from the beginning because I think that's kind of important. That's how it started. I remember like at first, like when I was like especially a teenager, I used to really, really love video games. So I used to play a lot of video games. That was like my thing, video games, mostly that more than movies. Actually, movies wasn't even a thing. Like honestly, I didn't know a lot of actors. Like, I mean, Angelina Jolie, those type of actors for sure.
Mhm.
Everybody knows them, but aside of that, I wasn't really into movies necessarily. I watch movies, but I wasn't like once I finish the movie, it's done. You know, like, I don't need to go and look what Tobey Maguire does in his life, you know, or what's his next project. You know, like it was just like, okay, Toby did Spider-Man, good. Like let's go to the next thing. In high school, I remember my friend was like, oh, maybe like one day you could do like a gameplay channel, you know, and I was just like, I don't know. Like, now I know a lot of movies, I know a lot of topics, and I've been talking with my friends, but you know at one point I can feel they're a bit annoyed because like you have so many things that you want to talk, and they're, I mean, like they love what you love but maybe not that much. So that's where I
Right.
was like, yeah, I don't know, like I really need to reach a public that likes what I like, you know, and that's not to insult them or anything. No, like I love my friends and I respect that they were there talking with me, but yeah, at a certain point, you know, like not everyone has the same passion as you. That's where the idea of YouTube, maybe I should do a YouTube where I could freely talk about the things I would love to talk, you know. I kind of scrapped that because, you know, well, studies and everything, I didn't have time. Then university came and I was studying I was actually 1 year in cinema. So that's where like this idea of like, oh yeah, you should really do YouTube because fun fact, like I made a short video like in 2017. I made a short horror video and actually I wanted to talk about that. So the only thing I have is the images, which probably one day I'll post it on YouTube to just celebrate that because I was really proud of that. Like, I mean, it
Yeah.
takes a lot of time and it takes passion and everything to just make a short
Mhm.
movie. And I talk about this short movie because that's where I'm like, okay, I was able to make a short movie, and everybody was telling me everything wrong about it. Like, oh, you're
Okay.
gonna spend money. It's not gonna be good. You have to be professional. You're not an actor. You're not a screenwriter, and blah blah. And I was just like, but I didn't care about any of that, and I just went for it. Like, you know, like I decided one day, you know what, I'm gonna risk it, and that's where YouTube came. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start making short videos, and I'm going to, sorry, short movies. I'm going to put it on YouTube, and hopefully one day I could go to a film festival. That was the first idea.
Yeah.
And then COVID came, and that was the definitely, yeah, that was the moment where everything I talk right now came together, and I was just like, oh shit, you know what? Yeah, now it's time. Like now it's the perfect time because nobody was doing anything necessarily.
Mhm.
We were everything. Everyone was at home, and I was just like, it's been years I've been trying to push myself to something, and I feel like I'm the one who has to choose, and I've been blocking myself. So it's time for me to step up and don't block myself anymore. Try. If it doesn't work, well, it doesn't work, but at least I
Right.
tried, you know. So I have the certainty that it couldn't work. Also, like I want to thank you, thanks to my friends, like two specific friends, like they really encouraged me. Also, they pushed me to that, and also like they helped me that day because oh my god, like I remember I put my first video on YouTube, and in that first video, I told people tomorrow you will have my first ever review, which was Scoop. Oh my god, I remember it was a Saturday. That Saturday, I worked the whole day doing that video because I couldn't find an editor, like an editing program. It was everything was paid, and I was just like, oh shoots, like now I'm screwed. Like I talked to my friend like, well, what if I just posted like I don't know next week? He was like, well, I don't know. Like I mean, you're starting bad. You're starting a YouTube channel, and you already promised your audience you're going to give them the review for Scoop.
That's something I learned very early on. I'm still trying to learn now is
Yeah,
to not promise people anything.
yeah, anything, yeah,
Never promise anyone that anything is ever going to be out at a specific time.
yeah,
If it
no.
gets out at that time, you know that you shot for that and it's good. But if you're promising this is going to be out Sunday at 3 o'clock, it's now you're obligated to meet it no matter what. Now you feel obligated to meet it,
Yeah,
even if you're
exactly.
not
Yeah.
necessarily obligated because you told people something. So don't promise anything.
Yeah, I learned that
Yeah.
too. I'm like, okay, never again. I'm promising something unless I already finished it. And I struggled so much because I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't find a free editor program. Once I
Mhm.
found it, I was editing, but my computer was very slow. So, oh my god, it took me like a while. And yeah,
YouTube is great for learning how to do YouTube.
yeah,
Yeah.
seriously, yeah,
You went through a incredible journey going from just doing video games, your friends telling you, "Hey man, maybe you should make a channel about this,"
yeah,
to all of a sudden going to cinema classes in college and then wanting to make a short film. So you weren't into movies like that, and now you're going to cinema classes. What happened in between there? When did you fall in love with movies? Was there a specific movie that made you fall in love with movies?
That would be the MCU. So
Okay.
I loved movies ever since I was a kid, but I didn't follow the movies like we follow today, pre-university, or let's call it college at this point. That's where like the MCU, I was starting to really understand what the MCU is. I think until Avengers: Age of Ultron, I didn't know what the MCU was. Like I just watched the movies like that. I watched, of course, Avengers. I was like, oh, okay, nice, but I didn't know it was like a connected universe. That really appealed to me, and that's when I started to do research, and that's where I'm like, oh my god, this is a cinematic universe. This is interesting, and that's where I started to know more about cinema because I started to be interested in what Chris Evans did before Captain America or RDJ. So now that you ask me that, like, yeah, it was really like the MCU that really opened my mind more to the cinema, and I started really to pay more attention to the movie industry, and that's how I am today. Like now I'm more aware of like the things that are coming,
and now you're in it. You're one of the people
exactly.
will come to hear about movies and their opinions about movies. So the second question I have for you is, what have you learned about yourself since starting your YouTube channel?
Like I always had confidence on myself, but of course, like I mean, like I think like every human being, like we sometimes we have like a fragile side of us. Like we always have like this side that doubts about our own capacity. So for sure I had that. And I think like with YouTube, like I discovered I am capable, of doing this, of talking and everything. Of course, like there are some bad days, like I wish I would have done better and everything, but I think that really helped me for my self-confidence. Like English is not my first language, so for sure I do some little mistakes there, here and there, and sometimes I'm not happy about it, but it showed me how creative I am. Like I think with my thumbnails, I really enjoy doing that. Like sometimes I have an idea, I try to make it. Of course, not every video reflects like my creativity, but that's okay. Like that's part of being someone resilient. So those are the things like I really learned from YouTube. Like,
well, that being said, I want to take you back real quick. Remember when you got your first subscriber that wasn't a family member, that wasn't a friend, someone actually chose to subscribe. I remember that feeling. I was like, oh my God, someone actually wants to hear what I have to say.
Exactly.
Every new subscriber makes you feel more and more encouraged to keep making stuff.
Yeah, that like I don't remember who was my first subscriber, like out of my friends. I remember who was the first comment out of my friends. It was Zach Milne, actually. So that's why like I never told him this, but he kind of has like a special place because like he was like I remember it was my Prey movie review, and he was like the first person that was not any friend that comment. And this is a YouTuber who's watching me, and I was like, whoa, this is nuts. Like I can't believe this.
Those are the key moments, right? When we're just like, oh man, I feel even more like legitimized. I feel even more like encouraged to continue. When people who you don't know, who you've never had a relationship with, come to your channel and say, this is really good. It's like, thank you. I didn't have the editing software, and then I got to figure that out, and then I had to do all this, and you guys have no idea how many hours and labor it took just to put this thing on, and then you said that it was good. That made my day. And it's not that you don't believe that what you did was good. It's just cool that other people see you.
I had some friends that they told me, hey, every time you upload a video, just send it to me. And I remember I sent it to this guy, like this, he's a singer, like a guy I know, like not that personally, but I know him from friends. And I remember like that kind of threw me a bit off because he was like, hey, can you stop like sending me your videos? Because like, I'm a musician, so I'm not really into movies, but I highly recommend you, maybe you should open like, a Facebook page and everything, and also be patient because like I don't have a huge group, but that group at least they really love what I do, and because they share the same passion as me. So for sure, like you have to be patient. I understand like you want to get a lot of views and everything, but you have to be patient. The first comment was like, oh my god, like damn, like he doesn't like this, but then I'm like, okay, stop with that, like stop whining about that, listen to what he said after. Like it is true, like you can't just like being annoying your friends like, hey, watch my video.
You can learn just as much about yourself and about even what you're doing from rejection as you can from acceptance, because there are times when, depending on how the person puts it, they may say, hey, look, I don't like this, but this is the reason why, and then you can sit there and evaluate, is this person right? does this person actually have a
exactly.
point? That can be just as valuable as someone saying, hey, this is good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like one of my closest friends, he gives me advice, then like I think then it depends on you, but I'll never say like, oh no, your advice, I don't care about it. No, I'll always take in consideration. Then I'll see like if it fits me, because like for example, you said I hate when YouTubers like they have cuts, like I like when it's the whole time like you're talking, and the least cuts you have, the better it's for me. I'm like, okay, I understand that, but then like I have to cut because I don't like sometimes like I pause
Right.
too long or blah blah. So that depends on what's your style and everything.
Yeah.
So, but I never said like, hey, no, your comment like it sucks. Like no, I take in consideration. Thank you so much. So in order to do less cuts, maybe I should prepare something before, so I can talk more freely, and also like not being like I talk about, I don't know, let's say the positive of Five Nights at Freddy, it's this, and then I talk about a negative, and then by X reason I go to an actor, and then I come back. So like so at least you have a schedule that also helped me with YouTube, like to schedule more, like to script and to schedule more myself.
Scripting has become very important for me. Now, I've fluctuated here and there on scripting because some things I definitely script and some things I don't. It just really depends on how intricate the film I'm talking about is, right? So I definitely scripted my Killers of the Flower Moon review. I scripted the first half of that review. It was a 3.5 hour movie, and I wanted to remember everything I wanted to talk about, because if I just freestyled it from the start, I would have forgotten so many things. I would have stuttered. It would have been bad. And then I would have been editing like a 60-minute video when I only really want to edit like a 20-minute video, if that. The Five Nights at Freddy review, I freestyled that the entire way. The complexity of that movie versus the complexity of Killers of the Flower Moon, two completely different things. With that being said, I want to ask you our third question. Jason Entertainment, not just movies, not just sports, entertainment. What do you want your channel to look like going into the future? What is your ideal vision of your channel?
I mean, I think everybody would tell you like, yeah, they want to reach the 1,000 subscribers.
Right.
They want to be, and I won't lie to, yeah, for sure, I would love that. We're not that far today from that goal. Like before we were like, nah, that's just dreaming. But now today we're like, hey, actually, it's kind of possible. Like if we work hard and people come and see us, like that's actually, I think you're almost like at 600 subs. So you see,
yeah, I'm close.
Me too. Like I'm gonna be, well, hopefully, like I can be to 500 subs. I'm like, wait, I just need 500 more, and I'm there. So definitely that aspect for sure is there. I would love to have that 1,000 subs and everything. But I think like more than monetize, it's more like I would love to say myself like, hey, I never thought I could do this, and now like I did it and I succeeded, and like I'm here now today. But honestly, like the thing I really want the most is just to be able to share the things I love, and like meet new people, and like just share about our discussion. Like today, honestly, like I'm really glad of what I did. If today I stopped, I would just be like, hey, this is what I wanted. Like, like I met you, I met DJ, Justin Shredder, also YK Reviews. So I talk with you guys, like it's not just like, hey, let's meet for a video and that's it. I started to follow Katie, and hopefully I can meet her too. Like, Zach Attack as well. Like, well, all the Zachs, they look really fun. So
all the Zachs. There's a lot of Zachs.
There's a lot of Zachs. Yeah. I told them you should one day, if you meet one day, like you should do the meme. Seriously, like.
Oh, by the way, there's a lot of Jasons too.
Yeah, I know. As Screen Zen, I saw Jason, the friend
Jason,
of
the
Katie,
nice one.
But yeah, so like honestly, like what I like, for example, like 1 year from here, yeah, for sure, I would love to maybe reach that 1,000 subs. So because like that will be a milestone that I never thought I could reach, especially for me, like that would be an achievement. Really, like I really prioritize my community. That's the most important thing. Like this huge community. This is what I always wanted. Like to be able to talk about things I love, and just to meet more people. Like, I'm editing a video where I talk with this girl. She's Latina, and I can't wait to share this because we're talking about Latinos in Hollywood, and like we shared this experience. And it was really fun, And her name is Johanny. She's a Dominican YouTuber who lives in New York City, and she's really awesome. Yeah, follow Johanny. Seriously, follow Johanny, but not just Johanny. Like follow everyone. Like there's plenty of amazing YouTubers. Like our good pal DJ. I'm gonna copy DJ. I'm sorry, DJ. You can copyright me, but DJ always says, like, don't just subscribe just to subscribe. Watch the content as well. Watch the content as well. So I'm sorry, DJ, if I'm copying you.
No, but that's real. I really believe that you should only subscribe to people whose content you actually enjoy. If you subscribe just like out of the kindness of your heart, but you never watch your content, that actually does more damage than it does help. That's all of our 3 YouTube journey questions. There's one other question I want to ask you. What's a movie that you've watched that has inspired you or challenged you in any way, shape, or form?
Well, that's a great question. Inspired me like to be a filmmaker, like that's when
inspired you in any way.
So all right, so at least one of them that I know that inspired me, or I wanted once I saw that movie, I'm like, oh my god, I would love to do something that has my name on it. So that was La La
Yeah.
Land. That's where I was like, oh my god, like cinema is so beautiful. So La La Land was one of them, but actually La La Land is one of my favorite movies of all time, probably like top 7. So
Were you into musicals a lot before seeing La La Land?
no, so that's the funny part. So no, actually, I'm not gonna say hate it. It's just it wasn't really my cup of tea. Aside of Disney, when it's animated, it's fine, but when it's like live action, I was just like, I'm not sure about this. You know, the first minutes they started to sing. I'm like, oh my god, this is a musical, and I asked her, wait, is this a musical? She was like, yeah. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, no, what did I sign for? And then I was just like, no, this is amazing. Like, whoa. I tried to watch other musicals and I still feel the same. Like I'm like, it's not really for me. But La La Land was different.
There's a musical I want you to try because I'm not big into musicals either. I haven't even seen La La Land. It's something that has kind of been on the radar, but I never really got around to it. But there is my favorite musical of all time, Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. Last question for you before we head out. 2023 is almost over. We haven't seen everything, but what has been your favorite movie of this year so far?
Top 3. I'm gonna name you the top 3 because this could probably change. For sure, Oppenheimer. I think that was really good. It's not my type of movie, but compared to Poor Marty, I don't want to say too much about Killers of the Flower Moon. But I don't know. It's just like that's how you make a 3 hours movie, you know. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That movie,
fantastic.
I will admit, yeah, because my friends they kind of lost it a little bit when they went to that planet. You know, the Earth planet, like with the animals.
Oh yeah.
That is too goofy. But I'm like, I don't know, man. There's something that they did. I'm like, James Gunn really nailed it. The story of Rocket was incredible.
If I remember correctly, it's number 2 on my Letterboxd rankings for this year.
Really? Wow. Yeah. But yeah, definitely Guardians of the Galaxy is crazy. And I think the last one, Across the Spider-Verse.
That's my number 1.
That's your number 1? All right.
Yeah, Across the Spider-Verse is my number 1. Yeah.
I'm looking at right now, it's my number 4. So my number 3 is actually Scream 6. How could I forget about that? Scream 6. Like, I'm not a huge Scream fan. Like, my mom was she's a huge Scream fan. The best experience at the movie theater this year was a Scream 6. First of all, it was so jam-packed. I think it was for Jen Ortega, probably every because it was mostly women that were there. Like I think it was like maybe there was like beside me there was like 2 other guys and that's it. Yeah. Anyway, those 4s could change. So those are my 4. So thank you guys for listening to us. So my channel is Jason Entertainment. I really talk about movie reviews, but also I do some other topics. Like I talk about football. Right now I'm going to start editing for the Asian qualifiers for the World Cup 2026, and I've been posting some Spike's Family reactions. So if you like anime, if you like football, and also if you like movies, you can check my channel. And thank you so much, Ken, for this opportunity. Honestly, I'm really happy about it. And yeah, man, I just saying thank you. I think it's too little. So man, I appreciate it.
Well, everybody, that's our episode with Jason Entertainment. So glad that you could stop by. Go check out his channel. Thank you for stopping by. Meet the MovieTubers, and I'll see you guys next time.
Thank you so much. Take care, everyone.